Ireland is known for very happy, fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? Who's going to lower your happiness level?
It's true. I like that question. Do you know you have?
My God, man.
Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is?
Yeah. I'm joking.
You better off not.
He admitted knew who she was, didn't he? He just say yes there, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so, kinda. I think he tried to hide it because he said to himself, "Fuck! I just laughed at that.
Yeah.
I better run cover for myself here."
You better off not knowing.
President Trump. There he is in all his glory.
How does it feel?
Oh, boo! Fucking who?
What did he say?
Having a laugh, and then the Trump decided to, carry on the hilarity with a nice little fucking tag on the end.
Yeah, and how quickly she forgets. She's ripping into him about his fucking his issue with his hair. A lot of men have issues with that when they're balding. It's like, oh fuck. They become very insecure about it. But it's okay for her to mock it relentlessly. And this is what irks me about comedians as well. Like, what do they make their living doing? But fucking mocking people, Without a doubt, like, I think comedians like rock stars, they should be taken young. It's sad to watch them fucking degenerate over the years. Right, we'll start with Rosie. It's the shortest one, so we'll have a look at Rosie. Right, let me see if I can share this fucking screen now.
So she is the only celebrity who has actually followed through with her threat to move out of the United States because of Trump. And she decided to come here to live.
Yeah. God bless her cotton socks. Yeah. So I don't even think she made the trek to come here. I think she just had a look around. She does talk about it in the interview, which is interesting. So she gives her own reason for why she actually came here. So we'll have a look at that, and we can pick that apart. So there he is, the man himself, Patrick Kielty. Disgrace of a man. Again, it's I'm losing faith in Northern Irish people rapidly. Even to accept the job as an RTÉ late host is questionable at best. Like you could do much with it, but he hasn't. He's just doing what he's doing. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Do the hosts have any kind of sway? I think the institution died when what's his face left.
Gay Byrne, yeah.
Gay Byrne, yeah. Thanks. It was downhill from there, but still, we all kind of feel that his shoes are still there, and they're massive shoes to fill. And I'm forgiving of everyone who tries to step into them.
Yeah, you'd have to be a massive draw to have any sway within RTÉ, so you'd have to be literally either pulling in, multiples of millions in advertising revenue, or you would, be able to magically hypnotize the nation every Friday night or whatever day goes out. And have them believe everything you say without question, But gay was an institution, and still is an institution, just in a different way, different type of gay. So his spirit lives on. Unfortunate name.
My first guest is a multi-Emmy award-winning talk show host and actress who, from her breakout role in A League of Their Own to appearances on The View, has left an indelible mark.
Can you turn that up?
In pop culture, it is fair to say. She has also left an indelible mark on President Donald J. Trump, who took her name in vain last week while chatting to the Taoiseach in the White House. His presidency is just one of the reasons why she has decided to recently make Ireland her new home. We are delighted that she's here tonight on the Late Late Show. Would you please give it up for
My God, you swear she's the Queen or something. My God, man. What happened?
Yeah, she's aged horribly. Like I couldn't believe that was Rosie O'Donnell. I have memories of her as that fucking fat, chubby, rosy-faced individual. But time is a terrible fucking thing, really. So she now looks like the nuns who used to teach me in secondary school. Like,
Yeah, she looks like my vice principal from secondary school.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know, just
like a cunt.
yeah, dressed in black, you know, miserable, fucking scold you just by looking at you. Yeah, it looks like somebody smeared shit on their nose or something under her lip.
Yeah, and that's how she came out onto the set, by the way, looking like that. Like, you know, she just got offended by just being there.
How she's fallen from grace, you know, from co-host on The View to now in fucking cold, miserable, wet, damp Ireland, talking to a third-rate celebrity on a TV show only because Donald Trump mentioned her name, and it's a good bit of propaganda for Paddy, you know. Ugh.
I'm good. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Ireland.
Thank you.
When did you arrive?
January 15th, I'm happy to say.
Okay, settling in okay?
Settling in great. The people have been unbelievably kind and loving and supportive and so different than Americans when they recognize you. You know, I was shopping in a beautiful store and I was looking for something and the woman helped me for like 2 hours, and finally on the way out she says, "By the way, I'm a huge fan." I was like, it's so polite, it's so sweet, and it's so non-invasive. It's beautiful.
It's kind of illegal to be famous here. That's how it works.
That's actually a good rule. They should take that up in America.
So with a name like O'Donnell, we know there are strong Irish roots.
Yes.
Any family still here?
Yes, I have cousins up in Belfast, and I was up visiting them. And far from where you grew up, actually.
Yeah, Drum, yeah.
Yes, and they're doing great, and they've been so helpful to me. And we came over here after my mom died in '73, and we stayed with these cousins for a while, and then stayed in touch all through the years. And they've been so helpful and so loving, and they're watching right now. So Paula and Margaret, thank you so much, loves. And they're wonderful, wonderful.
You're an asshole.
I love that you also got the train up as well.
Yes.
And you ended up doing a few selfies on the train.
I
up to
did.
Belfast.
It was so fun. I was sitting in the car where there were 6 women going to a 40th birthday party. And I was sitting there and I'm listening to them, and they must have known each other their whole lives because they were like cracking up and having a bunch of pints. And finally they're trying to get a selfie at the end of the 3-hour train ride. And I said, "Would you like me to do that for you?" And I do it, and I take the picture for them, and then they go, "Thank you." I go, "You're welcome." They go, "I told you, Lisa. It's frickin' Rosie O'Donnell." I was like, "Well, how are you? Nice to meet you." And they were,
No, I know it's fucking nonsense, but this is typical fucking Late Show stuff. Like, so, you know, unfunny stories. You know,
and unbelievable stories. You know, like what? You know, she didn't hear them talk about her all that time.
Yeah, I don't know. I say nobody I wouldn't have recognized her because I haven't seen her in 20 years, maybe. Like, it's just, you know,
Nobody has.
no. So that's because she's roundly hated in the fucking States, you know, because she's essentially, you know, an unlikable person. So I think after The View, I think she came out as a lesbian, you know, and she became a lesbian icon. And
yeah.
So,
See, I didn't even know that.
yeah, so she's apparently she's a lesbian icon. I don't know why. Like, I just look at her and, you know, immediately attracted to her. So I can't imagine she was doing too bad with the men. But yeah, yeah, she lesbian icon.
That's
yeah,
it.
so thankfully thankfully there's not a lot of this back and forth, and we get into the meat of some very, very fucking important topics.
so loving and so kind that's what's been the biggest thing in Ireland is the sweetness of the people, I have to say.
You're not here as a visitor. You're here for the long haul. You're applying for citizenship. What made you up sticks from the States and join us?
Well, there's the president of the United States that has it out for me and has for 20 years when I told the truth about him on a program called The View. And there he is, hair looping going, everyone.
There she is. It's the Rosie I remember.
Oh my God.
Of levels. He's the moral authority. Left the first wife, had an affair. Left the second wife, had an affair. Had kids both time, but he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds.
You see, you can't do that. Like, you can't attack somebody and then not expect some sort of fucking response from the man. Like, you go on national fucking television, you rip the man apart, and this isn't just this is just one example, but you continuously attack the man.
Okay.
And then expect no response. What's he to do? Like,
but the way she framed it as that she told a dastardly truth about him and exposed him. But no, she was just a cunt.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You're a comedian. You're gonna, tease someone comedically. But again, if you can't take it, don't dish it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it was my job to talk about pop culture, politics, and I mentioned his bankruptcies, and I mentioned all of the sexual assault charges, and I mentioned that he was not, in fact, the businessman that everyone thinks he is. The show The Apprentice, where they sold a bunch of lies.
I'm sorry, but that man's a boss.
Yeah, well, now, do you recognize his friend?
Oh, shit. Well, that fucking ruins my fun now, doesn't it?
Yeah, he was doing well, he's having a fucking laugh. He's dancing away. I love his dance moves. That biting the lip trick, that's a killer for the ladies, you just bite down on that lip and groove away.
He was not, in fact, the businessman that everyone thinks he is because of the show The Apprentice, where they sold a bunch of lies to America for over 10 years, and half of America believed it. And so he was very angry.
Yeah, but we have to mention the Jeffrey Epstein thing. That was back in 1992, though, or 94. So I think it was kind of pre Epstein's pedophilic escapades, before he was known as a. Can we say it on YouTube? Pedophile. I hate this crap.
Well, yeah, now that it's after like 20 minutes or something, but I said that word at like 15 minutes in, and that's the danger zone. So go right ahead, man. So, as long as it isn't the N word, we're fine.
Good. Yeah. So, and again, there is, we can't have guilt by association. So all these people move in the same circles. But it is interesting if you look at Jeffrey Epstein's body language there when he's interacting with Trump, he bends down during the conversation, and that's that's body language for embarrassment. So Trump has said something to Epstein that causes him to be so embarrassed that he doubles over, turns around, as if to escape. So it was too risky or risque for Jeffrey Epstein, whatever Donald whispered in his ear. But everybody fucking knew this. It's like, dude, I don't understand why it is still in this day and age a mystery for certain people to understand that men in general like women and like sex, and women, like men who are powerful and have wealth, and it's an aphrodisiac. It just is. Like, you can't fight human nature, as much as we try, but still mystifies people. And what's to be done about it? Like, so do we stop being attracted to each other? Is the plan for everybody to become homosexual, so the women stay with the women and the men stay with the men, and then we do build these factories where we just have children just to keep the human race going, and men only can raise a child, and women, or maybe we'll take men out of the equation altogether and we just leave it up to the ardent lesbian feminists to bring up the children for us, because they seem to know best, because I don't know about you, but any kind of radical feminist I've met who is practicing feminist, i.e. a lesbian, generally tends to fucking hate men with every fiber of their fucking body. And I don't think they're the people we should be really taking advice on or from on, how to raise men, because they kind of raise, little mini versions of themselves. But the men then generally have, still have the physicality of a man, but the mindset of a woman, which is a terrible combination, because women have the luxury of getting through life without any real consequence when they're dealing with men, because we act by a certain set of rules still to this day, that, we give women certain allowances where if they irritate us to the same level as a man, we generally don't cave their head in with our fists or feet or implements, so we give them leeway because we recognize physically, at least they are weaker than us, but we can't get past the fact that Donald indeed had interactions with Jeffrey Epstein. But I wonder if Rosie ever ran into Jeffrey Epstein at a party or spoke to him, or indeed went to Epstein Island. We don't know. But yeah, that's the problem she had with Donald Trump, because he represents everything that is toxic about masculinity, and capitalism, because they are linked. So he's a billionaire, and she was calling out his hypocrisy. That although he's, I think, presenting himself as a billionaire, that he lost money, he owed other people money. That such is the world of business. But I don't think that's much of a mystery to people. And at the time, he was more of a celebrity figure than anything else. He was no real threat to politics. He had a TV show, The Apprentice. I can't imagine he was really shaping the culture with, a pretty shitty entertainment program where they hire B-list celebrities, and then Donald makes them do various tasks business tasks to raise money, and then at the end of the show, whoever wins give it to charity. But I thought it was great. I watched part of it because it shows celebrities for what they are, craven whores who will do anything for recognition and money, but not Rosie. Rosie's one of the good ones, who gravitated towards the right type of celebrity and the right type of television, a pure ethical angel by all accounts.
To say the least.
Yes.
And he hasn't let it go, and he sort of uses me as a punchline whenever he feels the need.
Well, you say he uses as a punchline. He was meeting the Taoiseach, Micheál Martin, in the Oval Office last week. You're over here kind of minding your own business.
Yes.
And this happens.
Ireland is known for very happy, fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? It's going to lower your happiness level.
It's true. I like that question. Do you know you have?
My God, man.
Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is? Yeah.
I'm joking.
You better off not.
He admitted he knew who she was, didn't he? He just say yes there, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so, kinda. I think he tried to hide it because he said to himself, "Fuck, I just laughed at that.
Yeah.
I better run cover for myself here."
So he does his normal thing, which is giggle, stumble, and say nothing. So he neither confirms or denies that he knows Rosie O'Donnell.
And then he puts up his hand as a deflection tactic.
Yeah. So then Trump comes in. Oh, maybe you're better off if you don't know her, because he's not saying anything, and it's uncomfortable when the world's press is watching you and you just sit there and say fucking nothing. There's like
mumble.
There's levels to dead air. Like so. You don't
like this. This is American television, by the way. It's not Irish television.
Yeah.
It's got to be bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, and Micheál's not that man. Like he's not.
You're better off not knowing.
President Trump. There he is in all his glory.
How does it feel?
Oh, boo fucking who?
What did he say?
Having a laugh, and then the Trump decided to, carry on the hilarity with a nice little fucking tag on the end.
Yeah, and how quickly she forgets. She's ripping into him about his fucking his issue with his hair. A lot of men have issues with that when they're balding. It's like, oh fuck, they become very insecure about it. But it's okay for her to mock it relentlessly. And this is what irks me about comedians as well. Like, what do they make their living doing? But fucking mocking people, for laughs, like for money. They're not doing it for it's not some charitable fucking cause where they're oh well, what the world could do with a couple of fucking laughs. So let me put everything on hold. I'll do this at my own expense, hire a venue. I won't charge people in because I just want to uplift the people. But no, it's okay for Rosie to mock Trump. It's okay for Mosey to Mosey. It's okay for Mosey. I like Mosey better.
Yeah, Mosey.
Yeah, it's okay for Mosey to mock whoever she wishes, but God forbid anyone should turn the tables on her. And what did he say? You're better off not knowing who she is. Like,
that's not too bad. Like,
no, obviously it's stuck with her like 20 fucking years later, or a decade later, and it still stings. It still fucking hurts. Like,
yeah, this is sour grapes. Like, it really is.
Very, very surreal, I have to tell you. He's been doing it for 2 decades, and I'm still not used to it every time he does. But
what are you on about? You're a fucking celebrity.
She should be thankful because, again, did you even know she was here? I didn't know she was fucking here.
I forgot she existed.
Yeah.
Until a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So he's giving her the rub. Like, it's like, oh fuck, you're back in the news. Isn't that part of being a celebrity? Surely.
You know what the thing is that she's lost it, right? She doesn't have it anymore. She hasn't said one thing that's funny except, oh, aren't Irish people so kind and friendly, buttering us up.
Yeah.
She's just lost it. She doesn't have what it takes anymore. So instead of playing along and having a little fun back at Trump, she's just making it fucking political.
Yeah, she's taking it personally, and you can't do that as a fucking comedian. As soon as you take it personally, you're done. And granted, if you're a comedian who never goes near anything political at all, and you just stay away from it, well then fine, you're good. But as soon as you even dip your fucking toe into the water, well then it's all fair game. Like, so if you attack Donald Trump, and if it's if it's a joke in the true sense of the word, where a comedian is just, they're grafting away and everything is up for grabs, or they're a political comedian, and it doesn't really matter who it is. Like, so if it's Trump one day and Biden the next day, they'll make jokes. But you can tell when it's personal. You can tell, like, people aren't fucking dummies, and comedians have agendas, it without a doubt, comedians have agendas. Like, my favorite comedian, one of them anyway, would be Bill Hicks. Like, but he was like that from the get-go. Like, so he had an issue with all of politics and all of life in general, and everything was fair game. But I don't think I can remember him taking it personally. Like, I know he didn't like Bush, but I don't think he had a thing for. He wasn't partisan. It was like, okay, well, I'll only attack Republicans and I won't attack Democrats. Where he saw, let's call it, injustice, he would attack it and fucking mock it. But with the likes of Rosie, it's partisan. Like, so it's not like, oh well, I'm going after all the politics, or I'm going after poor behavior where I see it. It's a personal vendetta against an individual, and then it's the cry bully fucking thing that we see everywhere. It's like, I'm going to attack you, and if you dare defend yourself, well then I'm going to cry and call you a bully and a monster. But always forgetting that she engages in the exact same fucking behavior. Like, it's fucking disgusting. And she should thank the man for making her relevant again. Because, like we said, until now, everybody had forgotten about her. So she'll be a regular guest on RTE. I wouldn't be fucking surprised if she has a radio show within the next 3 weeks, and then a TV show, a late night fucking TV show to browbeat us all on immigration and everything fucking else that goes with it. Like, so.
I felt very troubled that they put the Taoiseach in that position and didn't treat him with the respect that a leader of that kind deserves when they're visiting the White House. And I wrote the Taoiseach with a little note, apology to his email, and got a note back that they had received it and thanked me.
That's nice. Yeah, I've never written to the Taoiseach. I can't imagine anyone Irish person who's written to the Taoiseach has actually even got a fucking response or an acknowledgement that they've received the email. So again, she's using her privilege as a celebrity. And who does that? Like what a fucking ego. You're writing to the Taoiseach of a country you've just arrived in to apologize on behalf of all Americans for the behavior of Donald Trump, which is what? If you take it at its face value, for mentioning her name and he's no fucking clue who she is. So again, it's for her own benefit. Like, I'm that person he spoke about, and I'm looking for citizenship. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. By the way, so when my application does come in, if you could have a chat with the Minister for Immigration or whatever fucking department looks after it,
Foreign Affairs.
Or sign on the dotted line and give me my my citizenship. Give me a fucking break, like.
But I just wanted him to know the history and what happened and why he seems to be out to get me in ways that are startling.
So run into the teacher. That's
call
what you're
women
doing.
who don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
That's brilliant, like. That deserves a real.
Yeah.
Even her, look at her. Even she fucking acknowledges how funny it was. Look at that smirk. Like, she's trying to hide the laughter, hiding the smile. That was a good one. That was a zinger.
Yep.
You stuck out the last Trump presidency. What's different about this one for you that made you realize you're out?
Well, right away was the problem with Project 2025, which the Heritage Foundation put out, and it detailed what they wanted to do. And I felt that anyone who read that would not be able to sleep as an American.
What type of stuff was in that?
Yeah.
It's not Trump or his administration. It's the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, so it's an American conservative think tank that the Democrats tried to link Bush to, and in their document, they essentially, there's a couple of things they want to do. So they want to roll back on the size of the state. They want to give more powers back to the states individually, so everybody's not so reliant on the federal government. But the thing that got everybody up in arms is that they want to, when new senators and civil servants come into the system, that they want to give them training. So the argument here is, okay, well, what they want to really do is install a permanent conservative deep state. And they want to get rid of the democratic progressive deep state. So it's like, oh well, hang on, like, you want to get rid of our mafia and your mafia takes over? Can't we talk about this? Like, and it's like, well, how did it get like this to begin with? Like, how did the fucking state mushroom, the federal apparatus mushroom, and how far does it continue to go? Like, so people were very unhappy about Trump, distanced himself from it, and we can see it in action. They are essentially, like, they're dismantling large parts of the federal government. They're ending the Department of Education. Now it's being framed like, they're destroying education. They're ending education, and we're done with education. There will be no more education anywhere. But what they're doing is they're handing it back to the state level. So there will be no, uniform federal system that that has overarching control over the education system, and that's a good thing. Irish people get terrified, like, oh, how could you do that? Like, because America's a little bit bigger than fucking Ireland, So, it doesn't really make sense. It would be like having, like a European education system, and then, Ireland has no control over that, which is, that's next week's agenda, I think, is to finally do away with Ireland's control over its own education system. But what they're doing is they're handing it back to the states, and then people are worried because, okay, well, that's great if you're a wealthy state. Well, then, you'll be able to, have a proper education system, and the poorer states will suffer. And the counter argument is, well, then, people will just have to compete and, find new and interesting ways to do it. Like, getting rid of fucking, diversity programs and focusing on what education really should be about, teaching children how to think, not what to think. And if we could do it in fucking hedgerows, well then, you don't really need this giant apparatus for what, really.
Yeah, really. There's so much tax money that the people in every state, and I'm sure the states themselves individually, have to hand over to the federal government to pay for this bloated network of managers. All of these government departments are just swamped with managers.
Yeah, and a lot of their funding is dependent on pushing certain programs. Like, so if you were a clever, dastardly political operator, and you wanted to have a permanent influence over the nation forever, well, then you would insert a particular ideology into, really important departments within government. So no matter who got elected, you would always have your ideology, baked into the system. And then if you made it dependent on funding, well, then everybody would have to follow through with it, because if not, your school doesn't get funded, So in order to bypass that system, they've now said, well, if you implement these programs, you're not getting funding. It's as simple as that. And they'll disband the whole federal education system and then just put it back into the hands of the states, which is, in my view, a good thing. I'm not terribly knowledgeable on it. I'll hold my hands up on that. But I think it's good, to give power back to the people. Could it work in Ireland? I don't know. Like, if it went to a county level, I don't really fucking know. Ireland is still, a small country in terms of population. There's many states that have more people in the state alone than we have as an entire fucking nation, So the argument doesn't really transfer across to Ireland, but in the American context, it does, because, you can't have a one system fits all. For a population of how many? Was it 600 million people in the States?
Between 500 to 600, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of their education system is fucking terrible. Like, they're producing dummies who essentially come out of school. They can't even read or fucking write, Comparatively, when it stacks up against, the international competition, they're dying on their fucking arses, So I don't think it's a bad thing. But she got very upset, and Democrats got very upset about the Heritage Foundation and Agenda 25.
Well, gutting all of the social programs, as he has been doing. Just the other day, he disbanded the Department of Education. And I have a child who has autism, and that child will be denied services, and many, many autistic children, because the funding for these programs for special needs children comes from the federal government as well as the states. It was...
Yeah, so I didn't know she had an autistic child. I didn't know she had any
How
children.
old is this autistic child, though?
10, I think, now.
Oh, I think I know why it has autism.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, is there some fucking correlation here? Maybe. It's airborne, is it? Or, yeah. So she has, I think, 5 children in total. From 10 into their 20s, all adopted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Adopted, all right. I was thinking, Jesus, no. Who fucked that? I don't think so.
Yeah, or purchased, depending on your use of language to describe how she acquired her children. But yeah, so here, you know, she talks about her autistic child. And again, we've had an explosion of autism in Ireland as well. Some people think it's related to vaccines. Other people think it's related to, you know, bad sperm and rotten eggs. Let's put it that way, because people are having children, you know, they're much older than they were historically. People would have, you know, children in their 20s. Now they're holding off until they're in their 40s and 50s because it's just, there's never a right time, you know. It's like, okay, well, I want a career and I want to be able to provide for this one special child when I'm all arthritic and crippled and cranky and haven't got the energy to look after them or do shit with them, you know. And so it's terribly worried. Like, we have a lot of autistic services, and it just so happens that the people, a lot of the special needs teachers in this country and other countries tend to be of a certain political persuasion and have a particular ideology. And these autistic children are particularly, what's the word they use? Vulnerable and impressionable, even not impressionable, impressionable. And a lot of them they're just, what's the modern term? They're not neurotypical. And that's not to say that they're retarded. But I just have this terrible feeling that rather than looking at these kids as like, oh my God, this is a rare individual that we're blessed with. And let's do everything we can to encourage the best in them. Because I was listening to an interview by Elon Musk's father, of all people, who I like, because he's as blunt as they fucking come.
Cool.
And so he was telling the interviewer about Elon when Elon was in school. And so he got a report home from Elon's teacher to say, look, Elon's not, this is in public school, says Elon's not doing very well in school. He's not paying attention. He's looking out the window. He's daydreaming a lot. And the teacher said, I asked Elon, you know, like, why are you looking out the window all the time? And he said, well, I've just noticed that the trees on the leaves on the trees have turned green. And he was wondering how they turned green all of a sudden. So he's just observing nature and a phenomenon. And then the teacher told his father, I don't know how to say this to you, but I think your child is retarded. And so his father goes, okay, well, that was it. That was the end of public education. And the next day or week, he pulled Elon out of public school, put him into a private school, and hey, presto, irrespective of what you think of the man, but we can see the difference. So if Elon had have stayed, and this might be an argument either for or against public education, depending on your worldview, but had he stayed in the public education system, they would have viewed him as a retard. And essentially would have pulled him out of classes, not taught him to the best of his ability, but would have looked at him as a problem, and essentially would have him, you know, coloring books for fucking 7 hours a day, and essentially retarding him. Like, not that the child was retarded, but they will, in effect, retard a child for you by teaching them essential nonsense, you know. So here, this is Rosie. She's on, I don't know the name of the show, but it's some gay show where they only speak to gay people. And they're discussing pronouns, and Rosie brings up her autistic child in
lovely.
in this interview. Yeah, I know. So we'll get to know her child a little bit better.
Probably right around 10, which is interesting because it's when my daughter told me that she was non-binary. Clay.
There she is. Like, yeah. How does a child turn around and tell you they're non-binary?
Unless they were taught what that word was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and as a parent, wouldn't you know? Like, if your child is, you know, if they're expressing homosexual tendencies, or like, how can a 10-year-old make sense of what non-binary fucking is? Like, most adults can't, you know, figure out what do you mean you're like boys and girls at 10? Like,
well, I think it's about identifying with the sexes, not attraction to them.
Yeah, I don't even fucking know anymore. Like, but again, it's like, where does that conversation come up? Like, it's, you know, I haven't had that conversation with my children. I need to sit down at the dinner table. Okay, children, today we're going to talk about, you know, gender identity. Do you feel more of a boy or more of a girl? And you know, if I did have that conversation, all the boys would say I'm a boy, and the girls would say I'm a girl, and that would be it, you know. Or if they said something different than that, well, then it would be, you know, time for the belt to come off and to chastise them in an old-fashioned style. Joking, lack of laughter there from you, so that's a joke, just so someone doesn't call fucking tussle on me. But the only way that can be further explored is then to start digging into it. Well, what does it mean to be a boy? You know, and do you like playing with dolls, or, you know? So it can only be, you can only find out by questioning or educating your fucking child about what it is to be non-binary. Or if the child comes to you and says, you know, I want to play with a doll, fine, play with the fucking doll. Or I want to play football, or, you know, I don't think I'm like the other girls. Well, just be honest with them. Say, well, of course not, because your mother's a fucking radical feminist lesbian who hates men. So it's only, you know, natural that you're going to pick up on the conversation that's continuously happening in your house.
Yeah.
And anytime Donald Trump comes on fucking telly, or any man comes on telly, I'm sure there's plenty of, you know, fucking boo-ha-ha, like.
Her original name was Dakota. And then about a little bit over a year ago, she said, I'd like to change my name. And I said, no kidding, why? And she said, well, I feel as though Dakota is too much of a feminine name and it has a gender identity.
Does it?
It's the name of a state, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they bought her. Like, yeah, and if you notice, she's referring to her as she. She. But if she's, you know, gender fluid or non-binary,
Call it it.
yeah, it's a they, isn't it? It's a they rather than a she,
right.
because
I forgot that's an option.
yeah, so she's a they rather than a she, because, you know, that's not going to confuse a fucking child, is it? You know, what are you? You know, you're not an individual. You're multiple. You're a twosome.
Well, I'm like, how do you talk like this? Like, you know, I'm a lesbian icon. She teaches me things every day that I had no idea about.
No, you fucking lying cunt.
I hate it when they say that shit.
Yeah.
The children shouldn't be teaching you anything. Maybe they should be teaching you things about yourself and the world in an indirect way, but they shouldn't be teaching you things like in this way that you mean it, Rosie. That's weird.
Because she's just lying through her fucking teeth, like, you know. She doesn't know where her child. I don't know where she came up with these terms, like, just out of the ether, you know. It's like either you're not there for the child at all, and you have no idea what the fuck is going on with her. Like, you know, there's all this other influence coming in on top of her that you're completely oblivious to, or it's a constant topic of conversation in the house because you are, by your own admission, a fucking icon in the world of lesbianism. And so maybe that topic just you know, comes up every now and again in the world of, you know, radical feminist lesbians. I don't know. Am I wrong? Maybe there's the haircut give it away for a fucking start. Like, your clothing, your demeanor, everything you've said in the last 20 years, the friends you have around the house. Maybe she's picked it up from there. I don't know, but it seems to be a bit of a mystery for Rosie that her child just picks up these topics, or maybe it's the special needs classes for her autism where they're discussing this. And there is a correlation between, you know, autistic kids and trans kids. It's you know, it's scientifically there's a higher percentage of autistic children who, you know, transition, maybe because they're fucking confused to begin with, and they're more impressionable. So it's easier then to have someone come in and go, oh, well, you know what, actually, do you know what the problem is? You're not just confused to a great degree like everybody fucking else, but you're trapped in the wrong body. You're actually two people, and we're going to help you decide, you know, which gender you are. And then we're going to, you know, transition you to, you know, put you on fucking medication and then have surgery. And this is all provided at a state level, you know. And that's why Rosie's panicked. That's why she's come to Ireland. From what I can tell, she's not come to Ireland because, you know, any real reason, nothing to do with Trump. Like, she didn't leave the first time he was fucking elected So she's not leaving because of that. It's the education system, the Department of Education, and all the funding it provided for autistic children, and all the funding it previously provided to help children transition has now stopped. It's done. It's gone. And as far as I'm aware, it's now illegal for men to compete in women's sports, and so all that nonsense is dead in the water. But there's one magical island, just to the fucking east of America, a shining beacon of degeneracy in a world that's continuously moving back towards rationality and conservatism. And beautiful, shiny, progressive Ireland stands out as a beacon for Rosie and her ilk. So not only do we have to contend now with the hordes that are here already, but get ready for an extra 200,000 fucking American radical feminist lesbians and their borrowed children to come over to Ireland so they can take advantage of the education system that will happily indulge them in their fucking fantasy,
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of, right? A few days ago, I saw underneath a Conor McGregor tweet because, I started following him. I thought, may as well, throw in my lot with him, who knows? But he was actually, I believe, I'm not sure, it was very ambiguous. I believe he was announcing that the charge against him for inciting the riots isn't going to be carried by the DPP after all.
Okay.
Which is great. But underneath, someone responded, save my homeland of Ireland and I'll come back. And I thought, what are you on about? You want Ireland to be fixed before you come back to it? Fuck you. All right?
I'm not looking for a fixer-upper. I want a brand new, shiny country to move into. I'm willing to help out. Yeah, it's fuck off. So I completely withdraw what I said last week about the diaspora. Stay where you fucking are. Don't come near the country. We don't want you. You left. You abandoned. Either you did it yourself, or your great grandfather did it. Stay home. Stay the fuck away. Send your money. We'll happily accept that. Or we need some sort of purity test to come into the country to begin with before we're letting anyone else in. We'll sort the shit out ourselves. We don't need physical bodies. We need money, something, and something that I won't say because I'll get arrested. But we need money. We need shiny dollars, preferably silver or gold if you have them. Send them all over here, and then based on your contribution, when it's done and dusted, and when we've made it anew and it's brand new and shiny and fit for you to come over and live here, well then we'll give you 4 acres and a donkey, and you can come over here and settle down and relax and come back to the homeland. But yeah, we don't want Rosie. We definitely don't want Rosie. We don't want this other fucking faggot sitting opposite her. I'm sorry if you're not wearing socks. You're not getting into the country. It's a requirement. Unless you're wearing sandals or you're going for a walk on the beach, you must wear socks. Even ankle socks. I'm sorry, if you're wearing ankle socks with sneakers, you're not getting into the country. I want socks up to the fucking knee, thick woolly socks, or some sort of polyester all the way up to the knee, and jackets and t-shirts. Again, you're not getting in. If you don't have a shirt underneath the fucking jacket, you simply can't come in. I'm sorry. And Doc Martens, again, if you're female and you're wearing Doc Martens and you're not straight, you're not coming in.
Agreed.
We want lipstick lesbians. That's it. We don't want any of these butch bulldogs coming in. We're full to the brim of fucking butch bulldogs. They're everywhere. You can't walk down the street without seeing at least fucking 8 or 9 of them. Lipstick lesbians only. And we want big, hairy, fucking bear faggots. And we don't want these feminine wisps. We're full of those as well. So I think I could be elected at the next election cycle. Manifest my plan for Ireland.
Oh god.
The re-manification of Ireland. What's this doll in the background? Is that a Rosie doll or something? Or what the fuck is that?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But
Yeah, that's how relevant she is. Look at that, a Newsweek magazine from 1989. Like, it's, you know.
And she said, I want a name that is gender neutral. I said, well, what kind of a name? She said, I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking of Clay. And
10.
Clay Aiken.
10 years old. I've been thinking about that. You haven't been thinking about anything.
Yeah.
Your mind is a fucking clear sky that occasionally a cloud drifts through. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're not thinking.
Yeah, thinking of a gender neutral name, and what
Clay.
Clay. Yeah.
Clay is if Dakota is a girl's name, then Clay is a boy's name. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, they both sound pretty gender neutral to me because they're, you know, one's a fucking state and the other one's a, you know,
A substance.
A substance,
from
yeah.
the ground.
Yeah, Clay is like, I suppose, like, it's very clever for 10-year-olds to go, okay, well, what's the building block of life here in a biblical sense? You know, it's clay. Yes, I was molded from the clay, but the first being was male. You know, so you've made your fucking choice. You know, what are you going to call yourself? Rib, clay rib, like, just to get both fucking sexes in there. Yeah, no 10-year-old comes up with that. Like,
and that's not a gender neutral name at all. That's a boy's name, absolutely 100%. In America, it's, you know, up the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, but there's that fucking you know, famous American footballer Clay Aiken, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember he was a big thing when I first got on the internet in like 1999, and it was, what was it? American, I know, something fucking Pop Idol, some shit like that.
Oh yeah, maybe that's the Clay.
Yeah, he was big hit, Clay Aiken.
But it's a dude's name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe she's just trying to emulate her fucking, you know, lesbian mother, who looks like a dude. You know. Yeah.
My first thought, you know, I'm like, Clay. Where did you hear that name? I made it up, and I think that
No, she fucking didn't.
No. She sat down with Mammy Rosie, and because it no, I don't know Rosie, but it's quite fashionable, isn't it, to have a gay child or a trans child in that particular community.
Yeah,
it just seems to be, you know, fairly prevalent that a lot of these celebrity types just so happen to have, you know, trans children. And I think it might have something to do with the fact that they're never fucking present with the child because they're too busy with their fucking careers. And especially if a lot of them tend to be adopted, you know, they've got so little time that they can't actually, you know, have a child naturally because, you know, it's eating into the next project. Like, I can't take fucking 3 months off, you know, and then the last trimester to have this child and then wait another fucking 2 or 3 months to get back into the role. Like, you know, I'm going to lose the role. Find me a child. Find me an African fucking child. And then let's hire some fucking gay nanny. And like, oh, the child's trans, all of it. I don't know what happened. Autistic, yes, she's autistic. Let's slap a label on it. And then, you know, we can't talk about it because, you know, you can't fucking say anything. You can't say anything about it. You're mocking autistic children. What kind of monster are you? Let me get my autistic child shield out so I can't be questioned on fucking anything, you know?
That would be a good name for me. And it's also something you can make art out of, she told me. I said, okay. And she said, I'd like you to still call me Dakota, but I'd like
That's not confusing. She'd like...
Didn't fucking happen. None of this fucking happened.
No.
All right, can we just move on? Like, really, this is getting tiresome.
everyone else to call me Clay.
And why did they want that?
Oh my God, he's better than she is.
Yeah.
She's saying she, and then he comes out and says they.
They, yeah, he's correct, gently reminding her and correcting her.
Yeah, reminding her of her own bullshit.
Yeah.
So she can get it straight. Yeah, good job, man.
Because of habit and change, she doesn't like. They don't like change.
Yeah, they don't like change. Constantly switching between fucking, you know, male expression, female expression, different fucking names. You can call me Dakota. Everyone else calls me Clay. Am I a he or a she or a her or a they or a them? You couldn't get more fucking change if you ask me. Like, if you don't like change, how about just leave shit as it fucking is, and not indulge in this nonsense if it's coming from the child, which we very much doubt it is.
No.
As much as they like routine, and so it took a while. But once I went to their school, and I saw everyone calling them Clay.
Wow.
Everyone, teachers. I was walking with letting her into the fourth grade, and hey Clay, and I'm like, what? Oh yes,
Elected.
Well, if you talk to any Americans, they're all in shock, or at least the ones that I know. I will have to say I don't.
Yeah,
really
you live in a
have any-
bubble, bitch.
Yeah.
You live in that is proof positive that you live in a fucking bubble, because more than half of your fucking compatriots voted for the guy that you say everyone's in shock about getting in. Like, is anyone listening to what she's saying?
No pushback. Not a fucking ounce of pushback from fucking Patty there. Just let her roll on with the fucking lies. Like,
I mean, that is just, it should be RT's fucking slogan. Not an ounce of pushback.
yeah, RTE.
In parentheses, unless it's against someone who, speaks against the current state narrative.
Yeah, could you imagine if Conor McGregor was the next guest? Like they'd have the armed guards, pointing fucking automatic weapons at McGregor. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, it's unprecedented with Trump and the Republican Party in this election. Like, almost won every fucking state, won the popular vote, have a majority in both houses, but everyone's shocked. Apparently, shocked, couldn't believe it. Country was doing great. There was no problems at all. Just this trickery. Fooled everybody. Maybe
almost all of the swing states as well.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like a beggar's fucking belief. But shocked. I'm surprised she hasn't said it was voter fraud. I'm like, just to put the icing on the fucking cake.
People in my life that support him. I don't really understand how people could support a convicted felon and a man who has had so many charges against him and has the moral compass of a teenage boy.
Maybe it's because your country's turned into a degenerate cesspit, and people are fucking sick of it. Your progressive agenda can only go so far. People are sick of this fucking massive state apparatus that exists. Like, it's not as if your founding fathers designed a constitution that was supposed to put the brakes on the fucking thing. But no, that's gone way out of kilter. Nothing to do with that. No, that's a mystery, a complete fucking mystery. Like, unless you live in a bubble and you were perfectly happy with the system because it benefited you and it ideologically aligns with everything you believe in to an absolute fucking T. I don't know. Maybe I'm cynical. I don't know, but I don't think so.
And it's heartbreaking, I think, to most of the people in America, and they're slowly waking. They're slowly waking to realize the cuts that he's making are not only going to affect the left-wing liberals that are woke, that they are afraid of and despise.
That's true. So I suppose it's easy to forget that when a society that becomes massively dependent on a bloated state, and then when somebody comes in to try and do something about it, there will be pain. Programs are going to be cut, and of course that's nothing got to do with the fact that certain people and parties bloated the fucking thing to begin with. No. So now it has to be fixed because it's not sustainable to have trillions and trillions and trillions upon trillions of dollars in debt. That used to be a part of politics, was to manage a budget, not just continuously fucking inflate it. And then unfortunately, because the people at the bottom rungs of the ladder in society don't have the power or the wealth to really fight back in any particular way, that's where the cuts will come. But then the kind of upper working class and middle classes and higher classes don't really give a fuck. Because as long as they're okay, they're fine. And she'll be fine either way. Like when things got, tough, what did she just up sticks, move to fucking Ireland. Hey,
she was
presto.
able to.
Yeah. And she's not here as a refugee. She's not the right colour for a fucking start. So for her to come over here and stay in Ireland, she's got a 90-day visa where she can stay as a tourist. Then beyond that, she has to have I think it's called a stamp 0 visa or something like that. So she has to be able to take care of herself financially, has to provide for everything, has to have medical insurance and proof that she can sustain herself. Other than that, it's like, get out. Like, so there's no state support for anybody on a stamp 0 visa, and it has to be renewed every year or a couple of months, and they keep revisiting it. So that's like why people have such difficulty if they're coming from the States to come and stay in Ireland. Like, be it, she could work, she could get a work visa, but if you wanted to bring somebody over to, to look after your children or something like that, well, then there's zero support for them. But if if you've come from a particular country or a particular color, and you've gone through 7 or 8 different countries that you just didn't like because it's not really working out for me here, I believe benefits are a bit better over in this country, so I'm now going to go over to that country. And it's like, come in, have a fucking house, here's a hotel, here's lots of money, would you like your car fixed while you're at it? Come on in, and sure, we look after you. And then for someone who tries to come in through other means, it's almost impossible. So that's why Rosie is here. So she's not suffering. And if you cared so much about the people, why then would you abandon them? I care so much for them that fuck it, I'm out. As soon as it gets sticky or tricky, I'm out. She's done. And I can't really figure out why exactly it is she's decided to come here. For me, if I was looking from the outside in, I would go, the only reason I would want to come to Ireland if I was, a big fucking liberal progressive, and I saw that the country I was currently in had, the pendulum had swung entirely the opposite direction. And I look around the world, okay, well, where is one of the most liberal places I can go to where there's no sign of that getting rolled back to any great degree? I would go Canada. No, that might change. Okay, I'm going to fucking Paddyland, And apparently she's an O'Donnell, so she does have Irish roots. But again, I don't imagine she's here for the long haul. I imagine she's here for a year or two. And it's probably some tax fucking dodge anyway, I'd imagine. Like,
when, as Jane Fonda said recently, being woke means you care about other people.
Oh, isn't that nice?
All right.
That's what woke is. It's just caring about other people. So that's it. So if somebody, adheres to a woke ideology, it just means they care. No harm can come from caring or over caring. Sweet.
And that's really all that it means.
Conor McGregor ended up in the Oval Office. What do you think that says about the state of US politics?
It's very depressing.
It's not depressing. It was great. It was great to see the dirty bastard.
She's always talking about depression, sadness, heartbreak. I mean, that's all that she ever experiences. I mean, look at that face,
I know. Look at that permanent fucking frown. Look at the wrinkles.
Yeah.
It's not there. There's no wrinkles there from smiling.
No,
they're all frown wrinkles. It's like, look, it's even the wrinkles extend from the frown down, like so. Frown lines. Oh, look at that fucking sad, miserable face. Like, ugh.
And it seems very strange to me that the president of the United States has so many friends who are sexual abusers.
Going back.
Why do you think?
There we go.
Oh, God.
What do you think it says about the state of US politics?
My God.
That kind of interaction between Conor McGregor turning up and being welcomed at the White House and everything being normal.
Oh, come on. It's not like they raped someone when he got there. It's like, come on into the Oval Office and we'll fucking rape a couple of bitches. Let's do a couple of lines of coke and start raping fucking people. Stuffed them full of tampons and
I
let's,
was
let's
just
rock and roll. Like.
annoyed that he couldn't fucking get that question out of his mouth. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
What do you think that says?
Well, I think it says that we're in trouble. It says that we're in trouble. Basically, the foundation of our country is a melting pot of people, all created equal, and that they are to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as Americans. And to think that cruelty and lack of empathy is a value that is sprouted from the highest office in our country is overwhelmingly sad to me personally. And it felt like way too much to take for me as well, emotionally.
It has taken.
Oh,
God,
gosh.
Jesus.
I feel
We're not even 2/3 through, man. Jesus Christ, this is awful.
I know. We have to see it though, because people don't understand. Like, these are this is what we're up against, and it's pathetic.
Yet it works. She's just going into this preach mode every now and then where she looks serious and speaks with a more serious tone. And she's just waffling shit. I mean, you got it right on the money. Horse shit.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's
It's
just horse
horseshit.
shit. There's no those thoughts coming out of her mouth, there's no connection between them. There's no basis underneath them. That it doesn't mean anything. They're just words.
Yeah, it's just all emotional fucking manipulation, like. And it's not going to be called out on RTE. It's not going to be called out on prime time or up front or down the back or wherever fucking horseshit they produce. So it's up to me and you and the fuckers listening and everyone out there that when you see it in your personal life and you meet someone like this, as hard as it is, because everything in your fucking entire being just went, oh, get the fuck away from me. That when they come out with this horse shit, if you disagree with it, tell them you disagree with it and tell them why it's horse shit, because that's the only way it fucking stops. Like, because look where we are, because we didn't say anything. It's like, we had, fucking like massive celebrations in Dublin Castle when it was decided it's okay to abort children now. So, yay! It's the greatest day in the fucking world. And then what's Paddy? Yeah, well, yeah, okay, I guess so, because I don't want to be seen as a mean person, because I'm not woke, and woke means you just care, because you just care so much, because I care for aborting babies and mutilating children, because that's just about care. That's all it is. I just care so much about my loving child that I'm willing to indulge in the fantasy that the boy is a girl, and we're going to have his penis removed or inverted, and we're going to put some breasts on him for Christmas. Like we told him Santi will bring the titties if he's a good boy, and if not, we're going to graft 2 pieces of coal in place of the titties. You got to call out the fucking madness. Like, you got to do it.
Someone has to. Yeah, go on. So,
on the verge of crying when I was there when he got elected. I luckily had a therapist. Hope she's watching. Hi, Ann. And I.
Oh my, really?
Elected,
She called her oh man.
I need a plan, and the plan was always and only Ireland. My grandparents are from here, and I grew up. I like Conan, who I saw on your show the other time, was 100% Irish on my 23andMe. So there was no option. It's not like people said, "Why didn't you go to Italy or France?" I'm like, because I'm Irish. So I went to Ireland.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is that ethno-nationalism there?
Maybe. She's 100% Irish. So there's no other option. I think she's saying like that in order to, come into Ireland, you have to be 100% Irish, which I didn't think there was a thing. I thought that was a question at the moment that we're struggling with. Like, what is it to be Irish? Like, do you mean anyone can be fucking Irish? It's like, as long as you identify as Irish. But no, this is a genetic test. Much like
I think it's just the bureaucracy in this country. It moves so fucking slow. She's only here 2 months, right? She hasn't gotten the memo yet that says, look, there is no such thing as Irish. So don't be going on fucking national platforms talking about your heritage. You're not allowed to.
Yeah. And, especially not genetic fucking.
Hmm.
Don't tell the people that. There might be some objective tests to fucking find out if you are Irish or not. Like, if the people get a hold of that one, like, oh my goodness, like someone might come to power and go, okay, well, we know we have a test here. You can only come in if you are genetically Irish, and if you're not, we're getting rid of you. But yeah, so that's why she
Yeah,
told.
no, I don't buy it. Actually, I think she's just full of shit. I think she wouldn't have gone to Italy or France because then she would have to learn another language. But if she comes here, she doesn't need to learn Irish.
Oh yeah, so she's using it as an excuse. But I believe her that she had the 23andMe. I believe that she had the DNA test.
Oh, I'm sure she is 100% Irish.
Yeah, look at the fucking head in her, and there's no doubt that she's 100% Irish. But it's just interesting that that's used. That's her justification. Where if it was, if that was used by anybody else to say why somebody shouldn't come into the country, so if you can use it as an excuse why you should be allowed in, well then surely by extension it can be used by others to say, well, that's the reason why you shouldn't.
In a sane world, yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that it's really felt like home since I've been here.
Is there any part of you that maybe feels you should be back there and fighting against some of the stuff that you do disagree with?
Yes, a large part of me does that, and that's really what I've done my whole career. I've stood up for civil rights and
you fucking have not.
Women's
Shut
rights
up.
my whole life.
Yeah, civil rights and women. You stood up for your own interests. Let's be fucking honest. Most people do. She's not unique in that. People generally stand up for what they believe in and fuck everybody else. That's just how it is. So she stood up for what was good for her, like,
Life, and so it's in me to stand up and protest and fight. But I have an autistic child, and that autistic child should not have to live in a place where our safety is compromised and where they have to worry about strangers coming up to us in stores and commenting on my opinion of Trump or, his.
But then, don't go on the fucking TV screaming it. Because people get, upset. Or, have the strength of your convictions and, blow a fucking hole in their chest if they're coming up and bothering you, But it's to be expected like that. If you, raise your head above the parapet, well then, people are going to get upset about it,
Followers are sometimes as uncouth as he. And it's not fair to my daughter. And I wanted to make sure that they would be calm and I would be calm enough to be their parents, because that's.
Yeah. So now you're going Irish television to make people fucking hate you. So you're.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
A few months. When did you get here? January.
Yeah.
It's now March. So your 2 months of peace is shattered. There you're gonna have anybody who's considered far right coming up to you and going, you know what, you're a fucking disgrace.
Yeah.
You're a
just
degenerate.
go home.
Yeah. But they won't, because we're far too polite and we wouldn't want to upset anybody. We can't even bring ourselves most of the time to disagree with family members, at a Christmas dinner, because Jesus, no, couldn't be making a fucking scene now or anything like that. Couldn't be disagreeing in a room where the odds are stacked against me. God forbid I get into a room and it's me against two, or God forbid 3 people with a differing opinion. Sure, isn't it easier to just nod along and it'll be grand, it'll be grand.
What my child needs is mom in control and calm and not absolutely overwhelmed by the state of the world. But I will.
Yeah, so she's letting us know, what that poor child has to put up with until then.
Yeah, that she's an unstable fucking shit box.
Mess, just fucking, pouring all her problems out to the kids. Like, oh my God, can you believe this? Trump, this is misogynistic. This is, this is why I'm telling you to become a thingy.
I'll tell you, national and international crises have always had an effect on me since I was a child watching TV and the Vietnam War was broadcast live.
Yeah, I've got a special visitor. Yeah.
This watch is on your daddy's wrist when he was shot down at Hanoi. Was captured, put in a Vietnamese prison camp. He knew that if the gooks that was on the watch would be confiscated, taken away, the way your dad looked at it, this watch was your birthright. You'd be damned if any slope's going to put the greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright. So he hid it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass. 5 long years, watch, up his ass. Then he died of dysentery. He gave me the watch. I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass. 2 years. After 7 years, I was sent home to my family. Little man, I give the watch to you.
I say that I can make it stop, but I can't. I feel very strongly about human rights and equality and dignity and decency.
You're in the process of moving here. As you say, one of the big reasons, the big drivers for that is your daughter, Clay. How are they settling in here?
Oh, he's at it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, how are they settling in? Fuck.
But he's also said daughter.
Yeah, what's the correct term for
Sprog. Just
drog?
Gender neutral sprog.
Sprog, you're sprog.
Yeah.
Loving it here. They are so happy about the pubs. In America, we don't have this great pub culture that you have here in communities. Like, we have the closest thing.
We don't either. It's gone. Bitch.
Yeah, they killed it during COVID, Yeah, we're not allowed in the pub anymore.
Pub is Chili's, which is kind of like McDonald's one level up. But we don't have the culture of pubs here. So when we first got here, we're staying now in Hote. Is that how I say it?
Hote.
Host. Yeah, I was calling people.
Shut up.
I'm in my house in house, but that's not how you say it. So, but we've been down there at Connolly's Pub, and then she loves the food there, and she loves to go there with our service dog. We have an autism service dog, and
please, mother fucking Christ.
Who's just about to graduate from college, and she's like, "You're not going to believe it here, Viv. You're not going to believe it. There's pubs. You can go to the pub. You could sit in the pub. You can have a ginger ale. You can get buffalo wings." Like, this is the highlight of her experience so far here. But she did tell me at dinner about.
Why would you bring a kid to the fucking pub for? Like this, you got a drinking problem. Like, spend the whole time in the fucking pub with her kids. I think she's.
I think you've lost track of Irish culture. You go to the pub with your kids, and you give them something to eat, and you have a evening. Yeah,
maybe.
Stephen in the chat said, if this was a real talk show host, when she brought up her kids, he should have asked why she took them to Diddy's with Ellen DeGeneres.
Ooh.
Funny how Ellen left the country too.
Oh, good fucking point. Yeah, we mentioned Epstein. We forgot about Diddy. Yeah, just seemed to be a tendency for a bit of degenerate behavior, doesn't there? And once you're freed up and part of that crowd. Yeah, good point. I hadn't factored that at all. Like, yeah, because they're coming after them all, aren't they? Anyone who's been involved in any shenanigans, it's no longer okay to be fucking around with the kiddies. Those days are over. Like, unless, of course, welcome to Magic Island. Fucking here, like we invented it here, like I believe,
Jesus.
Spread it to the rest of the fucking world.
About 2 weeks ago, Mommy, I like it here better. You can just be a normal person. And I said, isn't that great?
Yeah.
Ireland, of course, has its own problems, with services for autistic kids and places in schools. How do you think this place could be doing better?
Well, I've been lucky enough to meet Adam from As I Am, whose brother was the Taoiseach, and he is an autistic man who's exceptionally accomplished and articulate. And we have been talking about the walk that's coming up on April 5th. And I'll be attending that and participating in the festivities. Hello, talk much? Yes, for a living. Well, and I want to encourage people to go on the As I Am website and donate if you can, because there's a lot of funding in Ireland, which is different than in the
Oh,
United
yeah,
States.
we
The
know
government
that.
has a lot of funds to implement these plans, and now that people are more aware of autism than they used to be, there's
Yeah, that's a grift. She's going to set up a fucking social enterprise around autism to get in on the act. Like,
still acceptance and implementation of programs, so that many of the Irish families don't have to wait for a placement of autism in a school or in a public school where they have autism classes and they pull your kid out for certain things and give them the special need and the kind of attention that they deserve. And if everybody could do that, I'd be very thrilled, and so would Adam and As I Am, and it's an honor to be working.
there he is. Look at him without the earphones on. Like, yeah, that's Simon's brother. Yeah, could have brushed his fucking hair. Big day on the Late Show. Like, see, like if the special needs classes were any good, they'd be teaching the kids how to brush their fucking hair properly. Like,
Oh, Jesus.
Working with them.
That walk is on Saturday.
Yes.
Well,
I think we put something up there for high.
there we go. Thank Christ.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was awful. Right. I need to pee.
Yeah, put some fucking music on.
Oh, okay. What do you have in mind?
God,
Yeah, because I haven't given much thought.
what would be fitting? All right, let's go with Pink Floyd. Right, give me a second.
Okay.